What's up YouTube? It's Chris with Murphy Firearms Training. Welcome back. This is video number 3 for the pre-course handling NRA basic rifle. Now I have 3 semi-automatic firearms on the table, and these are 3 of the most popular types of semi-automatic rifles that you would encounter in the United States of America. The only one missing from this collection that you might possibly encounter would be like an AK-47 clone, but there are also others. There are MP5 style rifles. There are all sorts of semi-automatic rifles. But again, I've got a Ruger 1022, I've got a Marlin Model 60, and I've got an AR-15, and those are 3 of the most popular semi-automatic rifles that I've ever encountered. And so I want to cover those 3, and again, there's literally hundreds of other choices. I can't cover them all. So we're going to do loading and unloading. We're going to do loading and unloading. Now, we only have dummy ammunition. So I'm going to start with my 223 dummy ammo. These are A-Zoom snap caps. And I have an empty magazine. And the first step to loading an AR-15 is to load the magazine. Do not load a rifle magazine like a pistol. So a pistol, you put the round in front of the feed lip and you push down and back. That is not the way to load a rifle. The way to load a rifle is to put the round in the center and push down. Put it in the center, okay, and push down. That's it. Put it in the center and push down, okay? So boom, boom, boom. And the big deal here, guys, is if you do this and you got your tip, you just got to push it back, okay? So that magazine is loaded. Now, you're going to come up to the gun with this loaded magazine. You're going to make sure, while the gun stays pointed in a safe direction, this is in fact unloaded. So I look and I can see that the bolt is open and there's nothing in the chamber. So I have inspected this firearm. I have verified that it's unloaded. I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to make sure that it stays pointed in a safe direction. Now, what I like to do, because I am right-handed, is I like to get the gun with my left hand, and I like to put it against my body. So I'll actually put this against my belt or my thigh. Be careful with putting it too low on your body, because we tend to point it up if we put it too low on our body. So I'm trying to get this thing parallel to the floor, and I grab this with my left hand. I grab the magazine, and an AR-15 magazine inserts straight into the well till you hear it click, okay? And then you have a couple of options. Option 1 is you can grab this charging handle. If you've never handled an AR-15 before, you've got this latch here. You can pull this charging handle back all the way and let go. That's one option. The other option is you can press the bolt release. This is the bolt release right here. And that actually snaps the bolt shut. And so you see that this is shut. So the bolt is shut, all is well. Ta-da. Now, once the bolt is snapped shut, this gun is loaded, just like a semi-automatic pistol. How do we unload it? The answer is we drop the magazine. The magazine release on an AR-15 is here. So we drop the magazine, okay? There is a live round in the chamber. We're going to grab that charging handle. We're going to pull it back, and it's going to throw that round, okay? Now, make sure you know how to lock this bolt open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the trick. Your bolt release, if you press the top, that releases the bolt. If you pull this back and then press the bottom, guess what? That locks the bolt rearward. You can close always. By the way, this is very flimsy aluminum. Please don't leave this hanging out. Close that till it clicks, okay? And then it's locked in. So close that charging handle. This is unloaded. I'm going to return this to the table, okay? I'm going to take the magazine and I'm going to strip those rounds forward, just like that, and unload the magazine. That is the AR-15. Let's talk about the Ruger 1022. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you about this Ruger 1022, it does not lock open on an empty magazine, and so when you come up to it at the table, it may be like this. It may be closed. If it is closed, the first thing you're going to want to do is verify that it is, in fact, unloaded. So I'm going to take the magazine out. This gun, to drop the magazine, you push the magazine release forward. Okay, you push that magazine release forward. Magazine is empty. Then I'm going to pull the bolt back, and I'm going to verify that there's nothing in the chamber. And I have verified that. This gun is unloaded. Now, I've verified that it's unloaded. I'm going to sit it down. I'm going to grab some 22 dummies. These are 22 dummies. The 10-22s, all of our 22 ammo has a rim on it. And the 10-22 magazine has this little groove that the rim kind of sits in real pretty right there. You're going to push that down and back. Okay? Just like that. Down and back. You do load 22s like you load a semi-auto pistol. You have to find the groove, push it down and back. Okay? Now, just like the AR-15, I'm going to pick this gun up. I'm going to insert the magazine. Okay? I'm going to pull the charging handle rearward. Let go. This gun is loaded. How to unload it. Same process. You're going to push this forward. Drop that magazine. Okay? It does help sometimes to, like I'll stick it in my pocket or whatever, but to set it to the side, don't try to hold the magazine with the gun. Stick it in a pocket, throw it on the table, drop it on the floor if you have to. Trying to hold a magazine in a gun, you're going to swing that gun around. Now what? Pull this rearward, hold it rearward, and verify this is unloaded. The chamber is totally clear, okay? Then we're going to sit this back on the table, pointed in a safe direction. And we're going to come back to our magazine just like the AR-15. You're going to pull these rounds forward, and they're going to pop out of the magazine. So we're going to clear the magazine. Cool. So that's the second one. Now the third one is a Marlin Model 60. The Marlin Model 60 does in fact lock open when it's empty. And so if you come up to the table and it's not locked open, you're going to actually pull this back, verify that it's unloaded, right? So keep it pointed in a safe direction, pick it up, and the first thing you're going to want to do is verify that it's unloaded. Now, this is locked open. It only locks open on empty, but then I can also visually verify that it is unloaded. Great. This is a tube-fed gun. This loads on gravity. Before you point this anywhere, so if your instructor designates that as a safe direction and then asks you to load this, ask them, is up also a safe direction? If they say yes, then you're going to rotate this gun vertically, straight up, okay? And do be mindful, like you can grab it here, you can grab it here. Don't put your hand in front of the muzzle, okay? You're violating Rule 1 if you put your hand in front of the muzzle. So I'm going to grab it down here so that I'm not in the way of this tube. And I'm going to turn this tube. This tube actually turns counterclockwise a quarter of a turn. You pull it out, you drop your 22s in here. I'm going to grab a couple of 22s off of the table, okay? Just put them in there, drop them. Gravity takes care of it. Drop them, okay? Cool. Then what? You put your tube back in, okay? Now you do have to go in front of the muzzle to put that back in. But again, try not to wrap your hand over the muzzle, okay? Try to stay as clear of the muzzle as you can. One of the disadvantages of a tube-fed 22 is you're up here playing around the muzzle. Now, I'm going to take this gun, and I'm going to rotate it back into my safe direction, right? The Marlin Model 60 has a little lever right here by the trigger. Flip that lever, that releases your bolt. Now that this has rounds in it, when you pull this back, it'll actually feed that round into the chamber. This gun is loaded. Now you have two options to unload this gun. One is to cycle the action. Two is to remove this tube and dump the rounds out. Now I don't suggest removing the tube and dumping the rounds out because, number one, you're now putting your hand in front of the muzzle of a loaded gun. And number two, pointing it down, if you have a concrete floor, can be very, very, very dangerous because the bullet could ricochet. Whereas if you point it up, it's just going to go through the ceiling, okay? Now, so my suggestion, if someone asks me, is it safe to point this down to unload it, I would say no. Well, then the only other option is to work the action. So you're going to work that action, and of course it locks open on empty, and then you're going to visually verify that there's nothing in there. And I want to show you this. I'm going to lay this down for just a second. I want to show you, because a lot of people like to physically verify. And with smaller cartridges like an AR-15 or a 22 long rifle, my finger's too big. And so if you want to physically verify, and I've had several people that want to visually and physically verify, I keep zip ties on hand. And so this locks open, and you can feed a zip tie in there, and there's definitely nothing in that chamber. And so you can physically and visually verify that this is unloaded if that's what you want to do, okay? What I like folks to do is talk me through it. So you say, I have visually verified that this is unloaded, you lay it back on the table, I know you've done it, okay? So anyway, that is loading and unloading semi-automatic rifles. I hope that's helpful to you if you're trying to become an NRA rifle instructor. Again, the big deal, guys, is muzzle control. Keep that gun under control. Try not to sway it a whole lot. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments or shoot me an email. I'll be glad to help you. I hope this is helpful. Please like and subscribe, and we appreciate your support.